This episode contains jump scares and sudden loud noises. Headphone users are advised. Clean white walls, shining tiles, brilliant white, burning white. Could be dirty tiles, filthy tiles. How would I know? How can I ever know anything again? I wince. The pain of the light in my eyes is real enough, but couldn't I be imagining that too? I think I'm on a trolley. Sounds like one. The wheels clack on the dirty, clean floor, squeaking like nails on a sheet of steel. Doctors look down at me, trying to see if I'm conscious or not. Maybe I am. I can't tell. Leather straps tug at my wrists as I try to cover my eyes or wipe the sweat from my forehead. I can't remember what a cool breeze feels like anymore. Maybe it never existed. Maybe that was a dream too. The trolley burst through a pair of flapping doors, and now a whole new team are looking down at me, burned into silhouettes by the medical lamps above. I tried to kick against the bonds, but the leather is metal now and maybe always has been, so all I can do is sob, the tears collecting in the hollow of my throat or spilling over and soaking into the mattress. "We've got a lively one today." "He's having delusions again." "Shame. Nothing seems to work anymore." I scream and thrash. One of the nurses backs off. "Easy now, easy." "Babe, please let Dr. Taylor do his job." "Can you hear me? Can you see me?" "Don't let him overheat. It's imperative that he doesn't overheat." "Sorry, the AC's broken." And now I'm just shredding my throat with cries I'm forcing from inside me, as if I can somehow push them all away with a wall of sound, but they never stop their advance. The nurse I kicked away is next to me now. The lead doctor sitting on a stool beside my bed. "Right. Let's try again." The nurse fills a syringe full of bright green liquid. I squirm as she slowly pushes the needle into the crease of my arm. In it goes. Slowly, 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 and I feel every drop of the poison as it burns away in my veins. My eyeballs boil in my skull, my lungs burst and riddle me with air bubbles, my tongue swells and closes the airways, the room spins and falls away from me, and then none of this is happening and never was, but always did, and I'm still and compliant once more. The doctor leans in, dark eyes burning like the brilliant white of the dirty tiles. "Now, let's start from the beginning, shall we?" I jolt awake. Third night in a row I've had that dream. Maybe it's been more than that. The details get foggy. All I know is that damn hospital. Or morgue? Asylum? Truth be told, I'm never quite sure what it is. I'm never sure about anything. I breathe slow, throwing off my sweat-drenched sheets, and sit perched on the edge of the bed. I'm starting to think something might be wrong with me. I think maybe now would be a good time to see Dr. Taylor. Those dreams are making me paranoid now. Feels like reality is becoming more dreamlike every time I return to it. I shake off the thought and make my morning coffee, watching the water churn and thrash in the glass kettle. It looks how my brain feels right now. It's too hot for coffee, I remind myself. Weathermen predicted yet another record-breaking heatwave. I can already feel it now, the morning rays of sunlight reflecting off the clean white tiles of my kitchen and burning the inside of my eyes. The kettle clicks off and I pour it over the instant blend. Heatwave or not, I need my Mole's Premium in the morning. I sit in the empty living room, sipping the scalding hot drink. I can feel the sweat dripping down the curve of my back, soaking into my underwear. I haven't even got dressed yet. And now I'm starting to drift back to sleep from the sheer exhaustion of being in this heat. I can't think straight anymore. Everything's fuzzy and indistinct. And then I see it. It starts with a flash of brilliant light, so sharp I can feel my head split with the effort of trying to process it. I get up and run to the window. A large quicksilver disc, about the size of a small car, is hanging in the air above my street. It lingers for a moment before beginning to spin. Faster, faster, its form loosening, forming a sphere. Then the sphere loosens, the top and bottom becoming elongated, until the thing forms the shape of a spinning top. Bright blue lightning arcs from the silver top, striking the ground, forming legs that slowly bend and twist, guiding the thing to the ground. The floor below trembles. Flashes of crimson and dark purple fill my eyes and I turn away. The top touches the ground and BAM! Another flash of light. And suddenly it's gone. I wait for the neighbours to leave their homes, to shout and cry and start calling the police in their droves. But no one comes. I don't understand. Why didn't anyone react? Didn't they see? I step outside, still only in my underwear, swiping at the empty space where the silver top had landed just a moment before. Hey! I call. Anyone? Did anyone see that? Babe, what's going on? Asks Barbara, my wife. Oh, nothing, I assure her. Just checking. Hey! Hello? What's wrong with you people? She takes me by the hand and leads me back inside. Always conscious of the neighbours' opinions, but if they didn't see that ship arrive, I doubt they'd see me shouting about it. Ship. Why had I called it a ship? I just knew somehow. I knew, or think I knew. I rub my eyes, suddenly so tired again. She asked me what's going on and I tried to explain, but now the image is foggy. I just knew it was a ship, or something like a ship, or maybe not a ship at all, but something, probably, or not. Another dream? No, I'm awake now. I have to be. You don't know you're in a dream while you're having it, do you? And now she's looking worriedly at me, and I try to reassure her. I'm probably just overheating. Yes, she says, relaxing. It's probably just that. Good, I say, almost convincing myself as she wraps her arm around me. All good. There's a knock at the door. Hey! Wake up! I'm standing by the office photocopier. My boss, Mr. Taylor, shouting in my face. You've been standing by the copier for the last 10 minutes. Do something! I stare at him for a moment. Wasn't he a doctor before? Oi! Little Nemo, can you hear me? Can you see me? Snap out of it! I panic and hit the green button, the machine churning out 158 copies of the annual turnover reports. I stagger back. Thank God, groans Mr. Taylor. I'm not paying you to stand idle, you know. Get to your cubicle. Right. Yeah. Sorry, I mutter before staggering away. The office floor is huge. Yellowing wallpaper and dirty tiles on the ceiling. The smell of everyone's collective sweat is overpowering. What's his problem? Asked Steve, jabbing his thumb towards Mr. Taylor. Just because the ship's going under doesn't mean he has to take it out on the groundlings. I nod. He fans himself with his hand. Can't believe he can't be asked to fix the AC. Bloody cheapskate. How did I get here? I blurt out. Steve looks confused. Same as always, I'd guess. Unless the wife dropped you off for once. I mop more sweat away from me. My shirt is nearly transparent around the armpits. I don't remember coming here. Steve laughs. I can understand that. I try to forget this shithole the second I leave too. No! I press into him. I mean, I really don't remember coming here. It's like a massive chunk of time just got ripped away from me. Steve looks concerned. Okay. Maybe don't start talking like that in front of everyone. There was a thing. A UFO! Seriously, dude. Something knocked on my door and then... Steve takes me by the collar and drags me down into one of the office chairs. Suddenly I'm feeling dizzy, the heat still pounding on my brain. Dude, seriously, knock it off. You're gonna look like a lunatic in front of everyone. But you live near me, I plead. Didn't you see it? See what? The UFO! Bloody hell, Steve, it was massive! Something weird's going on. I know it. Even Barbara... But Steve has stopped looking at me. Mr. Taylor is watching us now, his beady eyes brimming with suspicion. Come on, says Steve. We'll talk about it later. He helps me to my feet. You remember the way to your office, at least? I crease my brow. I thought I worked in a cubicle. Steve's face fills with concern. Something bad really did happen. I'm standing by the lift, looking for a coin to insert into the control panel. I briefly considered taking the stairs to avoid paying altogether, but another dizzy spell hits me and I resolve to just find the damn money and stay in my office till the end of the day. Used to be just 10p, but since the latest quarterly reports showed a massive drop-off in profits, management saw fit to raise it to 20p. I dig out the coin from my pocket, insert it, and wait. Barbara's packed lunch is still in my hand, a crumpled paper bag with a few curled sandwiches at the bottom. She tries at least. The lift arrives and soon I'm sat at my desk, surrounded by clean white walls and the buzz of fluorescent lights, staring blankly at the computer as it loads all the paperwork I'll need to complete. Will your outgoing inflations rival that of the next quarter annual sub-district projection? I stare at the words, waiting for them to make sense. There's a fog in my head, something making it difficult to concentrate. I flick to the next document. Are you sure your average income revenues is more than the total expenditure of your Executive Capital Exchange Management Fund? I know what the words mean in isolation. I can sound them all out in my head, but whenever I try to take them in as a sentence, the meaning crumbles away like a handful of dead soil. I stare for longer, and now the questions are starting to sound aggressive, angry at my inability to make sense of them. If the tri-monthly money mutual agreement scheme is not in compliance with the latter privacy speculations, what quarter payment backward plans are in place to stabilise it? My heart begins to quicken, a nervous sweat now mingling with the normal type. There's a knock at the door. I say nothing. Another knock. Hey, you there? Says Steve. I breathe a deep sigh of relief. Yeah, come in. Steve pokes his head round the door and holds up a brown paper bag. Your wife dropped by to hand this in. Said you left without your lunch. I frown and inspect the bag. Just the same as it was a moment ago. No, Steve, I did pick it up. I had it with me in the lift. Steve blinks. Really? Where is it? I turn. The bag is gone from my desk. It's in Steve's hand now. My eyes widen and I slump back in my seat, gripped by a fresh attack of nausea. Steve, I think something's wrong with me. That or everyone's playing an elaborate joke. Steve takes a seat opposite. Should I call a doctor or something? No, I say out of instinct. I'll be fine. Just... I hear a tap at the window. I turn. Something is pressed against the glass. It's humanoid, slim and androgynous, but its features are totally non-existent. Nothing but a deep black silhouette with nothing to give any sense of depth or dimension. I scream. Steve looks confused. Mate, what the hell? And then suddenly the window shatters. The thing is on top of me, open palm reaching for my forehead. I scream, kicking and crying. The figure presses in slowly, slowly. I scream some more, and now Steve is screaming with me. He sees it. He sees it too. And now I'm almost relieved that he can see it, because if he can see it, then maybe that means we can... The sound of a fly burning up in a zapper interrupts my train of thought. The surgical lights have dried up the tears on my face. My lips are cracked and bleeding. I can no longer even try to fight against the leather restraints. I can't even see where the exit would be in all this darkness. The doctor looks down at me with disappointment. And that's what you think happened, is it? Who are you? I rasp. Very bad indeed, he tuts. We'll have to try some more severe measures. More hands reaching for me. I whimper, beg, try to summon the strength to fight back, but the doctors are infinitely stronger, and soon I feel the grip of metal against warm water meeting my lips. I look up and Barbara is smiling, just a fraction. The bedroom has stopped spinning for a moment, and I take a chance to try and straighten myself out. No, don't try and move, she tells me, and I realise that she's right. The room is spinning once again. I slump back, feeling the exhaustion in my body and the confusion in my mind. Barbara takes out a syringe and aims it for my tongue. No, the syringe is a thermometer. Or is the thermometer a syringe? I tried to ask, but my throat is too dry and it only opens my mouth more for the syringe thermometer to enter. I wait for the prick of the needle or the beep of the reading. I get the beep. My God, you really are burning up, she whispers. Dr. Taylor! And in he walks. My eyes widen. Him! The one in the room with the dirty clean tiles and the thick leather straps. I press myself away from him as he edges ever closer. Well, he asks, what does it say? Barbara shows him the thermometer and his eyes widen in horror. Good grief. He runs to the window, throwing them open. Get him an ice pack! Get him as many ice packs as possible and put all the fans on! Barbara runs out of eyeline and now I'm just listening to their argument. It's -17, Doc. Are you trying to kill him? Your husband is burning up. It's imperative he doesn't overheat. Well, just don't let the snow in. Footsteps are running out the room, down into the kitchen. The sound of the freezer opening, of ice cubes cracking, of bags filling. Dr. Taylor gets a pen torch from his pocket and flashes it in my eye. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I tried to shove it away. Can't, like my arms are strapped to the bed. Do you know where you are? Who I am? I know who he is. I don't know who he is. I know and don't know at the same time. You're suffering with a severe fever. Your temperature is skyrocketing. You need serious medical attention. Do you understand? I'm going to phone the hospital, okay? Barbara's back with 5 packs of ice. Sorry, babe. She shoves them under my covers and I cry out in shock, my senses alive and alert once more, and I struggle to hold on, but the fatigue is dragging me back and the heat is sapping my strength, but now snowflakes are brushing my skin and I think for a moment I'm outside, but I see the walls and I can't understand how the outside and the inside can be in the same place at once, and I wonder why there's snow when it's the hottest day of the year, and I know that I should understand because there's a simple explanation, but I don't know what it is, and now the room is spinning. I slop back into the bed. My hands cover my face as I let out a breathy grunt of pain. She strokes my dampened hair and whispers into my ear, It's okay. It's okay. I look for Dr. Taylor. He's gone. Downstairs, calling the ambulance probably. My head is clearing. Thoughts sharpening. I remember everything from before and I know something's going seriously wrong. I grab Barbara's shoulders, pull her in close. Listen to me. Something is happening. Yes, we know. You're sick, babe. Don't worry about it. We'll help you. No! I cry. Not him. He's part of it. What? And I realise that there's no way she'll understand. Not yet. Not when I don't even know myself what's really going on. But I try. Dr. Taylor. He's my boss. This morning at the office. And he's a doctor. Not a normal doctor, but there's a room. It's a dream I have, and he's a doctor, but he's not a normal doctor. And I saw a flying saucer this morning. I think it was this morning. Please, Barbara, don't make me. But she just stares blankly. Babe, you haven't worked in an office for over 10 years. I sink down, defeated. And Dr. Taylor has been our doctor for about as long. He's never even been in an office, let alone managed one. And what's all that about flying saucers? Please, I plead. Please, believe me. Babe, you're sick. We just need to take you to the hospital. Please, let Dr. Taylor do his job. No! I saw it all. Please, please. Dr. Taylor walks in again. Ambulance is on its way. He looks me in the eyes. Don't worry, you'll be disposed of in no time. What? I cry. I said you'll be okay in no time. That's not... And then I see it. The Shadow Man. It's standing in the corner, watching me like a scientist observing a laboratory rat. And it knows I can see it again. It's marching towards me, fury in its non-existent eyes. No! I scream and throw myself from the bed. Oh God, cries Dr. Taylor. Babe? I point to the figure slowly approaching. Get it away from me! Get what away, Dr. Taylor? Hold him down, Barbara. He's having delusions again. Babe, you're just pointing to some hanging clothes. No! I shout, thrashing free of their grasp. They're after me! They're after me! And I run, throwing myself towards the stairs in a desperate bid to escape. Barbara and Dr. Taylor call out to me that I'm too weak, that I can't walk, I'll fall, but I keep going anyway. The weaknesses eat away at my muscle fat. I feel totally emaciated. Maybe I am. I keep running. 1 step, 2 steps, 3, 4, 5. And then suddenly something gives way and I can't tell if it's the floor or my feet, but suddenly I'm falling. My head hits stair number 6. shoulder number 7, rolling, pitching, tumbling, darkness followed by brightness, over and over, faster and faster, hollow sounds of my body on the wooden planks. Crack! My shoulder splits. Crack! There goes a rib. Crack! Another limb. Crack! Another. Crack! 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 Thud! My broken body lays at the bottom of the stairs, twisted in an unnatural shape. I stare at the ceiling, my face reddened by carpet burns, and close my eyes. I died. I survived. I survived and died at the same time. There is no way to tell. Trolley wheels squeaking like nails on a sheet of steel. The spinning of a half-existent room around me. I open my eyes, but only for a second. Faces looking down. The shadow people have me. I'm on board their ship. The shadow people don't have me. The ship does not exist. They have me and don't have me at the same time. My memories are bubbling and churning in my head, nothing clear, nothing distinct, and I start to wonder if this is the way things have always been. Then suddenly I'm slid under a row of lights and my attention is dragged back from the brink. I'm in a hospital ward. My bed surrounded by ugly, pale green curtains. Barbara smiles down at me. My arms and legs are wrapped in casts, the insides lined with sweat and filth. I cannot move. "Babe, you're all right now. You're safe." "Well, let's not be too hasty," says Dr. Taylor, dressed in a blue surgeon's gown. "We haven't even begun the operation yet." My stomach drops. "The what?" "Yeah, sorry about that, but it has to be done." Barbara presses in. "The doctor said you have a very rare condition caused by the fever." "That's right," Dr. Taylor continues. "To put it bluntly, your brain is boiling up. You've been hallucinating, suffering delusions, paranoia, all sorts of things. Frankly, it's a miracle you're even this lucid. We need to take extreme action now or else you'll be lost to reality forever." My eyes are so wide now they feel like they might split open. "Do people go to hospital for fevers? Do they... I need a psychiatrist or... It all sounds so strained. The words are formed in my brain, but they just won't fall in the right order. The sentence cluttered with half ideas and half thoughts, all spilling from my tongue before I have the chance to stop them. The others are looking concerned now. "Are you sure he's going to be okay?" asks Barbara. Dr. Taylor looks grim. "It depends. I've called for the best surgeon we have, but his ability to recover will depend on if the medical condition is to be treated as a sidelong case of well-being or an intensive operative illness where the outgoing reports of the quarter-annual turnovers will be mapped alongside the incoming turnover margin cases where..." I close my eyes. The room is spinning again. Dr. Taylor moves Barbara aside and gazes down at my helpless frame. "Whoa there, buddy. It's easy now. Okay, relax. Just try and focus on me." He grabs hold of my shoulders. The room stops spinning. "Okay, let's go over the procedure, shall we?" He stands back a fraction. "Now, the main damage is to the prefrontal cortex, so that's the area we'll really need to work on. We'll stick a needle right here, just between the eyes, give the drug a couple of minutes to get you nice and settled in, and then we'll start."
"We will cut open your head. We will saw through the bone until the whole thing splits open. We will take a knife to your brain. We will shave it away piece by piece until everything is removed. You will be better after that. Do you understand? You will be well. Do you understand?"
I shrink into the bed sheets. All warmth has faded from his eyes. His face blank and severe, and I cannot escape his stare no matter how hard I try.
"Do you understand?"
he repeats. "Yes." "Right, good," he says, all charm and smiles again. "Well, I'll get to talking to the nurses." And then he's gone. I turn to look at Barbara. She's smiling contentedly. "Well, that all seems nice and clear, doesn't it?" I shudder. "What do you mean? Didn't you hear that?" "Yes, he said they were going to give you a sedative and then operate on the bad bits of your brain. It all seems normal." "They're making me sick!" I rasp. "I saw something I shouldn't have and now they're going to lobotomize me. Please, Help me! She looks at me, sadly. Oh dear, another delusion again. She kisses me on the forehead. It's okay, babe. After the operation, you'll be right as rain. She leaves. I try to reach out, but the casts or straps or clamps keep my arms locked down. I'm alone now. It's night. Had it been night before? I don't think so. I don't know. Can't know. The ward is clear. My operation held up. I have time. Good. I try to straighten up, but the pain in my body is overwhelming. I look down. Can't go anywhere with these casts on me. But maybe they're not really needed. I nod. Seems like the sort of thing they do. Tricky bunch, whatever these things are. Maybe this was part of the deception. I slowly peel the first cast away from my leg. It's perfectly formed. No break at all. I knew it! I rip away the other casts and climb slowly from the bed. My bare feet feel strange against the solid, unyielding floor, like I'm walking on a surface actively hostile to flesh, but still I press on. I dash from corridor to corridor, looking for an exit or an elevator or a flight of stairs. I need a way out, hopefully to the car park where I can find some way to get out of here. Maybe I could find Steve again. He saw me being attacked. He knows the truth just as much as I do. I just need someone to suffer with. If it wasn't just me in this torture, if I knew that I was at least not totally mad, that would be something. I hear footsteps coming from around the corner. Slowly, carefully, I peer just a fraction to see. It's one of them! I charge back, running at full pelt away from the thing. If it catches me, grabs hold of me again, I push the thought away. No time for that. I have to escape. Have to escape. Have to escape. I'm back in the ward, looking for a way out. The footsteps are getting closer, closer, closer. I look to the end of the room. The window looks out onto the car park. Was I on ground level the whole time? Only one way to find out. I attack the handle, try to wrench it up with all my might, but it just won't budge, and now I can see the figure's reflection creeping up behind me. No! With a final, desperate move, I charge forward and throw myself at the pane of glass. It shatters and I'm flung forward onto the tarmac below. It cuts my skin and grazes the palms of my hands, but I'm alive. Heat piling down, my whole body flooded with adrenaline, I charge for the nearest car and take off. On my way to Steve's. Steve answers the door after an agonizing wait. He's dressed in a dressing gown and slippers, and his face is one of irritation giving way quickly to concern. Holy shit, man, I thought they got you. I smile. So you remember? You'd better come in. I step over the threshold and all but cry in relief. His air conditioning is at full blast, and for once the air is cool and I can think clearly. He lends me some of his clothes before leading me down the stairs to his basement. I've been documenting them for a while. Looks like they've been coming down slowly for decades now, but lately they've been upping their numbers. Then I realise. That's why you stopped me talking about it at work. He smiles. It's been ages since I had someone else who could see it. I was halfway between punching you and kissing you. Sorry I couldn't keep you safe. You did your best, I shrug. Then an awful thought comes crawling up. But how did you escape when they took me? And wait, did they get Barbara too? Was any of what I just went through real? How could... Hey! Focus! He stops me halfway down and fixes me with a look. Don't fall for their trap. They're trying to confuse you, okay? Okay. We keep walking. The room is lined with photos of them, as silhouettes in the distance, shadows on the walls, even one with them outside one of their ships. I stare at them in awe, finally vindicated in what I saw. That's their biggest limitation, Steve explained. They can't seem to trick the mechanical eye. The camera always captures them, even when everything else is fooled. I frown. But how come they don't just manipulate our eyes so we can't see the photos? Steve jabs a finger to the ceiling. It is covered in tinfoil. It blocks the signals, you see. That's how they operate. They land somewhere, send out a high-frequency transmission from their ship to cover their tracks, and then get to work. They can vanish people, alter memories, retcon people into your life. They can make you see and hear and believe anything they like. They've been doing it for years, operating right in the open without people even noticing. And anyone who does notice, they quickly erase from the planet. But what are they doing here? I ask. God knows, says Steve. But whatever it is, it's slowly frying this planet. Have you noticed how hot it's been getting lately? I nod. They said it was a heat wave, or that I had a fever and was hallucinating. Steve shakes his head. It's them. It's all them. You spotted their ship at the crucial second before they unleashed their signal. You saw something you shouldn't have, and now they're after you. They'll do anything to shut you up. I fall back against the wall, suddenly hit with the weight of it all. Barbara. I've got to talk to Barbara. First things first, Steve interrupts. I think you need to understand what we're fighting. He leads me back upstairs, a roll of tinfoil in his hand. We look out the window together at the peaceful streets. A few cars pass by, as well as the odd late-night walker. It's calm. Uncannily calm. Steve unrolls the tinfoil and fashions it into a hat. I'm going to block the signals to your brain. Sorry, this is going to hurt. He places the tinfoil hat on my head, and suddenly I see it all. The sky isn't dark blue, it's bright red. Blood gushes down smashed up streets as the creatures run rampant. The poor late-night walkers are grabbed and violently ripped apart, never once screaming or even acknowledging that something is happening to them. Viscera hangs from the walls, cakes the floors, fire spewing from manholes, the shrieks of the monsters echoing across the air. I watch open-mouthed as the vision of hell unfolds, and I can't help myself. I scream. I scream and scream. Scream at the sight before me, the blood, the torn flesh, the tarmac, the broken glass, the ambulances surrounding me. Get back! Get back! The paramedics cry. I don't know what happened, says the hospital porter to Dr. Taylor. He just saw me walking down the hallway and then broke into a sprint. Next thing I know, he was flinging himself out the window. Dr. Taylor nods and walks over to my shredded body, tutting and shaking his head. This really is a bad one, he sighs. Looks like we're going to have to operate right now. Clean white walls, shining tiles, brilliant white, burning white. Could be dirty tiles, filthy tiles. How would I know? Can I ever know anything again? I wince. The pain of the light in my eyes is real enough. But couldn't I be imagining that too? I'm in an operating theatre, I think. There's doctors all around me, passing scalpels and chatting in a low voice just out my eyeline. They sound worried. Maybe they are. Dr. Taylor looks down at me, his mouth and nose covered by a surgical mask. He nods in approval and turns to the audience of teenagers above, watching on in grim fascination. Alright students, today we'll be learning about a very intricate procedure, so please make sure you take as many notes as possible. He presses a latex-clad fingernail into my forehead. This patient here suffers from an acute paranoid schizophrenia induced by the conditions of an extreme fever. In order to cure him, I shall have to cut away large portions of the brain tissue in order to stop the disease from spreading. Thankfully, the human brain is an extremely versatile organ and can operate quite normally on even a tiny portion of its normal size. Any questions? Where's Barbara? I hiss. Did you get her too? What did you do to my wife? Dr. Taylor smiles. I was asking the students, not you. A ripple of laughter sweeps the room. Though you see, students, how far this delusional condition has been allowed to spread? This patient is so out of touch with his own reality that he believes himself to have a wife, to the point of being able to name her, and yet we know for a fact he lives alone. He's never even been considered for marriage. A sad little life, really. Perhaps this is why his delusions have taken on such a form. Perhaps he's trying to live the life he wishes he had. She's real, I growl. You talk to her. I can assure you I did no such thing. I grit my teeth and pull with all my might against the leather straps. Where is Barbara? You want to see Barbara? Says Dr. Taylor. Very well. Barbara. A nurse steps forward. Her face is sickeningly familiar. Is this the woman you claim to be married to? I slump back. all my strength suddenly gone. Barbara. The nurse looks down, saddened. You're... I'm sorry to do that to you, says Dr. Taylor, but you've been living in a fantasy. What do you remember of your wife? Where did you meet? What did she do for a living? What was her maiden name, can you remember? I probe my adult mind, looking for something, anything, but no details arrive. You're sick, my friend, says Dr. Taylor, and now we're going to make you better. He turns to the students once more. Now, anesthesia is not necessary for this procedure, so we can thankfully dispense with it. I shall begin by cutting the head open in order to allow access to the brain. Nurse, please pass the bone saw. He grabs the saw and slowly lowers it to my scalp. Suddenly, the door bursts open. A huge explosion rings out and the nurse collapses to the floor, her stomach burst open. It's Steve! He cocks the rifle as Dr. Taylor charges forward to him. Bone saw raised. Bang! Dr. Taylor spins, spraying blood in all directions. A fleck of it catches me in the eye and I cry out in shock. It's purple! Wait, what? It's them, says Steve, pulling me off the sofa. They heard you scream and broke through the window, knocked the hat right off you. I look around, back again in Steve's house, and sigh with relief. I was at the hospital again. They were going to operate on me. They even said Barbara wasn't real. That's what they do, he explains. Now they know that you know, they're going to be on the offensive, trying to disassemble your whole life and drive you crazy. They can do that? Steve nods. I've seen it happen. They'll scramble your memories, fill you up with fake ones, make you doubt everything you see and hear. They nearly got me when I first found out. I'd be in a loony bin right now if it wasn't for the tinfoil trick. That's the CIA for you. I blink. CIA? Yeah, what? I thought it was aliens. I never said that, Steve shrugs. Anyway, CIA, aliens, it's all the same. But we're not in America, are we? Or maybe... Hey, focus! Steve cocks his rifle again. First things first, we've got to get out of here. They'll be baying for our blood now, and this place won't hold out for long. Maybe once we're safe we can work out how to fight back. But what about Barbara? I ask. We've got to go back for her. Steve lowers his eyes. I don't... They probably... Please, I cry. I just need to know she's still here. Steve nods, reluctantly. Fine, you can... see her. And I wonder briefly what he meant by that pause. And I start to grow suspicious. But without asking, there's no way of knowing, and would I even trust the answer when I got it? My head starts to hurt, and I put on the tinfoil hat to help me concentrate. And then an awful thought occurs to me. Steve? He turns, midway through grabbing his car keys. Yeah? Couldn't they use their powers to make you think the hats work when they don't? How do we know that we've even seen them at all? He stares at me, eyes burning with fury. The room is getting hotter now. Just get in the car. We pull into my driveway a few minutes later. I step out of the car and feel my skin burning, the outpour of sweat drying instantly. Whatever it is they're doing, it's accelerating. We open the door and find Barbara sat in her usual armchair, watching the news on the television. She turns, mouth agape. Babe, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the hospital. I smile, finally a shred of relief. It's a long story. Steve and I'll explain in a sec. Steve? She asks, and my heart sinks once again. Who's Steve? I turn. Steve is nowhere to be seen. I run outside. His car isn't there. I fall to my knees, head spinning as I try to hold together my collapsing mind. I'm knee-deep in snow now, but still I feel like I might burst into flames at any given moment. Barbara runs out and bundles me in her arms, whispering into my ear, Babe, it's okay. Babe, can you hear me? Can you see me? I look up at her, my eyes wild and bloodshot. No, I whisper. No, he's real. They got him. I know they did. Who did? I charge up the stairs, into our bedroom, looking for the photo albums. I rip the thick volumes from the shelves and spill their contents across the floor. I'm looking for him. He's my friend. We work together. There has to be something of him here. Something to prove he existed. The mechanical eye can't be fooled, remember? I throw photo after photo across the room. Useless, 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 useless. There's nothing. None of them. The photos get closer and closer to the present day, and still there's nothing of him. Did they get that too? They could do it. They could do anything. Oh God, they could do anything. The heat ramps up a little more. I throw the curtain shut to try and blot out the burning sun. Barbara's calling the hospital again. I can hear her. She's in on it too. She's one of them. She's innocent. She's one of them and innocent at the same time. I remember Steve. Of course I do. Of course I remember Steve. I remember at work when... My skin is turning red, the saliva boiling on my tongue. I remember when we met. I remember becoming his friend. I smack myself, beat my fist against my skull over and over, but now even his face is fading from memory. Was he blonde or brown-haired? Small nose or big? Blue eyes or green? I can't hear Barbara anymore. Maybe she's gone now. Maybe I'm gone too. Maybe everyone has gone. The heat breaks through the curtains, thickens the air. I'm struggling to breathe now. Can you hear me? You're suffering from a fever. You need to go to hospital. Can you hear me? You've fallen down the stairs. You need help. Can you hear me? It's the creatures. They've got you again. Can you hear me? You're in an asylum. We're trying to help. Can you hear me? It's a government experiment. You're subject number 1. Can you hear me? You don't exist. It's all a dream. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So many voices, so many thoughts. I don't know which to believe. I can't know. I can never know. How can I know? What can I know? How do I know that I know? How do I know that I know if I know? What if I know that 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 no 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 no. Someone or something walks into the room. I grab them by the legs like a child and break down crying. The photographs burst into flames along with the curtains. I scream! The fire enveloping me as every cell of my body burns and shrivels and boils. No! Hold him down, shouts the doctor. The nurses pin me back into the trolley as the electroshock machine is removed. Right, hopefully that's put some sense back into you, he says jovially. My face is drenched in brownish sweat. Every part of me is numb. I can only move my eyes and mouth. Please, I whisper. Tell me which one is real. The doctor looks at me with sympathy. Which one do you think is real? I don't know. He presses in. Are you married? Unmarried? Do you work in an office? Do you know your own name? Is it winter, summer, spring? Are you in a hospital? An asylum? Are you in your bed? On the floor? On your desk? Tell me! I break into hysterical sobs. I don't know! I don't know! I don't know! The doctor shakes his head. This isn't good. Not good at all. I reach out. The straps apparently removed during my procedure and cling helplessly onto his arm. You tell me! Tell me what to believe! I don't care what you say. I don't even care if you're right or not. Just tell me what to believe. Please, doctor, help me. The doctor moves me away, gently, and looks up at the nurses. Right, I think that's the best we can do for today. Let's get him back to the cell and give him a chance to recover. Barbara, Steve, pack everything up. Yes, Dr. Taylor, I say in unison. My vision clears as the surgical lights are switched off. Steve and Barbara busy themselves with clearing the instruments from around me. I'm too numb to care by now. We'll try again tomorrow, okay? Says Dr. Taylor. I mumble in reply. Steve grips the handles of my trolley and begins to move me. And then I see it. The shadow creature, watching once again from the corner. And I realise the truth. Not again, I hiss. You won't torture me again! I leap from the table and grab a nearby scalpel. With a speed that shocks even myself, I slash the thing's throat, its purple blood soaking into my white gown. Dr. Taylor and his cronies turn their heads in shock before screaming as I descend onto them as well. I jab the blade directly into Dr. Taylor's eye, stabbing him half a dozen times in the belly before he's even finished screaming. Then it's Steve, punctured to the chest before slashing upwards, severing artery after artery. And finally, I turn my attention to Barbara, her large eyes full of terror. Babe, please, put the knife down. You're not well. You need help. I see my bedroom again, see the snow touch the window pane and the photo album stacked along the wall, but I push it from my mind. Another trick. I slash her from ear to ear and turn away before she even hits the floor. I'm free. I'm driving down the empty motorway, my headlights at full beam. I know they're after me still. The unrelenting heat is enough of an indicator for that. They're everywhere I look. In cars, in pubs, on the side of the pavement, lurking around houses and bus stops. There's nowhere I can be safe from them. But I'm okay now. Everything's okay. Because I know what is real. I've decided now. And I don't even care whether I'm right or not. "Is that so?" asks a voice in my head. "Well, isn't that interesting?" I feel something jab at the crease of my arm and my insides begin to burn again. Now, let's start from the beginning, shall we?